switch gears because I'm Dutch and now I'm talking English. And it's a crazy day. It's crazy times, and that's all about the lockdown, the coronavirus, COVID-19. So, but we are going to have a really nice episode, day 2. Fake it until, because there was no more space in the lines, until you make it. Because going live and going online is really scary. And how do you do that? And how do you don't make a fool of yourself like I do sometimes, but make that just a part of it. That's how I do it. Yesterday, my phone rang. I forgot to put it off. So that's tip number 1. Make sure your phone is off. Or last week, my cat was still in the same room where I was broadcasting, and she wanted to go outside, and she was like, meow, meow, meow. And you could hear that really good in my in the show. But just interact with your cat, pick it up, show it to the audience, and people know what's going on. So that's my second tip. Just tell what's going on, because if you're not telling and you're looking like this and irritated, and or you get a message and you're not telling what's going on, then people get confused. So always tell what you're doing or what's happening in your environment. So the next thing, be prepared. So be cool, fake it till you make it, but preparation is important. So this time for me, it's in the evening. Most of the time, my kids are in bed by now, but during lockdown, bedtimes are a bit different. So make sure the house is quiet, especially if you have children or animals, that you can feel free to host your talk show, that you are in good shape, that you are comfortable with everything that you're wearing, that your hair is done the way you like it, that you feel good in your own space. And you can do that sometimes. I lit a candle or put some incense on, or before I start some nice music, and so that you get really calmed down. I have to tell you, I didn't do that before I went live today. I just rushed into dinner. My husband and my daughter, I kicked them outside. I said, now I have to go live. Shut up. So that's also what's going to be in your real life when hosting your talk show from home. And we're not in a fancy studio. There was no one, no one putting on my makeup in a nice dressing room with all the star lighting. So no, I did that myself in my own bathroom that needs a redecoration. Okay, but nobody has to know. But it's nice to share stories. I hope you like the story. So leave a comment if you're watching right now and you have a question for me. Just drop it and I'll answer it. So more tips about staying cool. So we already talked about the environment, the cat away, the kids in bed. Shut off other Wi-Fi. That's really important for me because I find the connection is getting really bad. If, especially in lockdown, everybody's on Wi-Fi. The kids on the iPhone or the iPad, and then also watching Netflix, and everybody's tapping in, and then my broadcast slows down, and then I don't have the good connection. So that's another tip to stay cool and be prepared. You can also do a positive affirmation before you start, before you go live. Do it your way. Talk to the universe, please. Give the best questions possible in my head and let my audience be big and nice. So that's also what you can do to prepare yourself for a good show. And also, if you got a guest, you have your talk show with one or multiple guests, make sure they feel comfortable as well, because a lot of people say, oh, how does it work? What do I have to do? And what I always say is, just be yourself. I'll keep the conversation going. We will be just like two friends talking, but then on screen, split screen next to each other. So I'll just ask you questions, just like in normal life. And I think that works the best. And people love watching people talk to each other. And if you interact with your audience as well, then everybody should be feeling comfortable. So that was my other points. Say nothing. like I just did. It feels like really uncomfortable just to pause, to stop talking. But sometimes it's good for your audience to let something sink in. Just say nothing. Stare. No, and then people can think about it or repeat. You can repeat a sentence. Or if you want to make a statement, what I do is come closer. Or did you hear that? Or do you have a question for me? So just more interaction with the screen. It's yeah, it's like it's a theater. It's more like being an actor. So and take breaks. Talk slower. I'm a real quick woman, so when I aged, I began to talk slower, and the rest there came more rest in me, but it's still a challenge. And I think people who talk more slower at ease are highly more highly valued because yeah, it's more like wisdom, grounded. You feel more aligned. That's more what I think. And people like blah, 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 blah. They just talk because they want to talk. So that's another question. A tip. And dare to fail, like I do in English. Dare to fail. You can stutter. Maybe you can pronounce a word or you can think of a word, but just say it. I can think of the question I was going to ask you or the tip I was going to give you. Just say it. Never mind. And then people will give you the question or the answer, and but then you stay human, and that's also nice to look at a real human. That you're not looking at an alien. That's how I feel in this world these days. Like not from this world. I feel a bit like an alien. Do you have that? Is this really planet Earth? Social distancing? So, but that's another story. Always tell what you're doing. Yeah, I'm reading from my tip questionnaire drawing notebook. But tell people what you're doing. Sometimes I see you see a comment and then you can read the comment, but it's better to show the comment first or at the same time and then read the comment so that you see that you both see what the other is seeing, especially when people are watching this in replay or later on YouTube, then they can feel and see what's happening. So that's a good tip as well. But also maybe the cat is at the door or you're just tell what you're doing. People like to see what you're doing. So that's a tip as well. Take time to drink. For example, if you have a glass of water with you, don't sip the whole time, but it's okay to just take a drink. And I always ask, what are you drinking? You've got a nice cup of herbal tea, maybe some coffee, whiskey, 43. Just tell me. And then people can interact as well. And ask questions. That's the same what I did now. Ask me anything. Tell me what you want to know about hosting your talk show. Just drop the questions. So have I got all my shutdown weaving positive informations? What to wear? Setting. Oh yeah, the setting. Yes, because you see me. This is my home office with all my vision boards. I've got a couple of settings. Normally, I'm also in my living room. I've got a big Jim Morrison background. I'll do that tomorrow. Then you can see the other background I use. So I don't have a studio, but I also always make sure that the light is coming from the other side. So my garden is here, so I've got the natural light in my face, and now it's still light. But of course, when it's dark, then I don't have that. But if I'm filming during the day, I make sure that the light is always in front of my face because that's the best light you can have. Then I'll always make sure that there are extra plants in my on my desk here, so it's not all industrial. I'll make sure to wear some bright colors. So yeah, it's nice to look at. It mustn't be too distractive or too much of a noise that people only look at you behind. But if you show other pictures in your screen, like I did, I'll just put them if I put an extra image here, stay in your own energy, then my screen gets a little more narrow, and even if I have a guest, then you can't see that anymore. So, but make sure that your setting represents yourself a bit, or represents the situation, or that's a bit clean and needy. This is not really needy because there's a lot to see, but that's me. Vision boards. I'm making my own vision boards today because there's a new moon coming. So if you got intentions, maybe you can make a vision board yourself. That's a nice thing to do for you. Make a vision board for broadcasting, for talk shows. How many talk shows you want to do? Just set your promise. Maybe once a month, or every week, like I'm doing now, or twice a week. If you're going to do this more often, then you get more cool. And fake it until you make it. Just go for it. And with fake it until you make it, that's a nice story I want to close up with. When I was 16, I think, there was this guy for modeling. He took pictures for me, and he said, "Oh, can you laugh?" And I laughed, but he told me, "Just don't laugh because you don't have a nice smile." And then you're 16. So I believed that a couple of years, and then I thought, was that really true? Was that really true? And then I faked it. So every picture that ever been taken for me after that period, when I choose, no, I'm just going to smile. And I smiled really like this. And I'm still doing it. And now everybody says, "Oh, you're so photogenic." So just fake it till you make it. And that's a bit like with hosting your own talk show. Just do it. And be bold. And just try to be yourself. Like talking to a friend. I'm always thinking about just talking to my friends. You don't see the audience. that's good. Yeah, you see the comments, but you when you're talking for a real audience with people sitting and you can see the reactions, that's more scary. So I hope you liked some of my tips. Just let me know which what tip you liked, or which you want to learn from me for tomorrow. Tomorrow we have day 3, so we're going to go further into this talk show challenge. Nice to be here again, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.